to recommend iBarbecue for you. Pre-orders are suggested by calling 716-880-7667. iBarbecue for you, Buffalo's new barbecue destination.
Just move the Coyotes. Don't do another expansion team.
Right? It would never crossed my mind. So somebody called the house when I was out mowing the grass.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit, your face is like purple.
Are you still up? Now in their fifth season, it's Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, April 2nd. Yes, we are back on our normal Wednesdays, at least for this week. But nice to have everybody here. Of course, it's me. You got Hanson. How's your week been?
It's been good overall. It's been kind of going by quickly, and crazy enough, we're already a week away from our annual mock draft with the rest of the crew. You, me, Fitz, Andy, and Rob. We're all gonna join forces again next week and do the mock draft rather than our traditional show.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, you want to see some funny stuff and a little bit of extended time, of course, join us for it. And always a lot of fun to be on there. And then, of course, if you're down in the South in tornado country, hope you're safe because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening down there, especially in Arkansas. So of course, that's that. And then just real quick as well, too, had a chance to talk to our friends, Sophia and her mom. Unfortunately, she's not doing as well as she can be. But if you want to help support her, help support a good cause, we do have her store that is up on our site. So, of course, please feel free to make any type of purchases. $7 of every item goes to her care directly. And, we just want to say we love you. Hang in there and keep up the good fight.
Absolutely. I mean, we're praying for yourself.
Yep, absolutely. And I ordered my hoodie earlier today too, so I ended up throwing my contribution in there. But in the meantime, of course, if you want to join us, we're live on YouTube and we're on Facebook. Of course, if you want to look at some of our old episodes, go to Spotify and you can download seasons 4 and 5. And let's kick it off with some hockey because the Sabres don't suck the last 4 out of 5 games, and they accomplished something, and it's not an April Fool's. They actually are no longer in last place in the East.
This team really pisses me off because it's like, why is it that they don't ever try in the first half of the season? Probably the most important part of the season, right?
Right.
You get a better general idea. But why is this? And this is even before Lindy Ruff. Why the fuck does this team not give a shit in the first half of the fucking season when it actually doesn't matter at this point?
Right.
I mean, technically it still does. I mean, they're 9 points out of a playoff spot, sure, but why the fuck do they do this every fucking year? They've been doing. Listen. To me, the Buffalo Sabres are a fucking cock tease. I am not exaggerating. It's like, oh, you want to go in? You want to go in? Oh, just a tip. And then you just pull out, and then you do it again. They've been doing that for 14 fucking years.
Right.
Like, enough is enough. Are you going to be good, or are you actually going to be bad? Are you going to be one of the most consistent teams in the league, or are you going to still be shit? Oh, no, never mind. You are consistent. You are consistently fucking terrible.
Right. Although, here's a little something that can, actually, it's kind of funny to take a look at it league-wide. They're actually in 27th. They're not completely eliminated yet. But you want to know what the worst... And actually, surprisingly, the goal differential is not atrocious. It's actually minus 19, which is way worse. But take a guess at who the worst team is for the differential right now.
Let me guess. Is it a team up in Masshole?
No.
You sure it's not Boston?
Although they are worse. They are at a minus 52 differential and in 28th place.
Is it the Boston Bruins?
So the Boston Bruins are not the worst. The worst right now? The San Jose Sharks, 32nd place with a 20-44-10 record, but a goal differential of minus 89.
Okay, so looking at that stat you just said, you are correct. It was San Jose. I was looking at the overall Eastern Conference record. That's what I was looking at.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I'm looking at like the entire league basically is how I looked at it. But yeah, if you look at it on the Eastern Conference, though, Boston is worse.
oh yeah, but you know what? I really do hope, and I hope I'm wrong about this. I really hope that the Sabres can continue this winning streak, apparently. Because how many games have they won recently? Like 6?
Yeah, like 6 out of the last 7.
Why didn't they do this in the beginning of the year when it
Right.
actually mattered?
Right. Instead, you go on that 13-game losing streak.
God almighty, dude. Like, think of it like this. So, just pulling up the record now. You have Ottawa, who is 98% at this point going to make the playoffs. You have the Canadians. You have the Blue Jackets, the Rangers,
Yeah.
the Red Wings, the Islanders, who, by the way, I am projecting as the next team to get eliminated from the contention race. The Penguins, the Flyers, and the Sabres. The Bruins are not going to the playoffs this year. And I'll put it in direct perspective. Buffalo right now is sitting at 32, 36, and 6 with 70 points, and they're just below 500, which is not enough to make the playoffs. But at the same time, if all goes well from now to the end of the regular season, which is April 17th, the Sabres could very well be within a 5-point ratio out of a playoff spot. So they could easily outjump Philadelphia. They can outjump Pittsburgh, but they could within be striking distance, mind you, striking distance of the Islanders.
Right. Who have lost the last 4.
Yeah, trust me, dude. And don't even get me started with Patrick Waugh. All right, that
Oh,
dude
boy.
needs to. That dude needs to shut the fuck up because all I've heard was, oh, Anthony DeClaire is lucky to be in this fucking lineup, or maybe Patrick, maybe your big ego isn't bruised enough to the point where you're bitching and moaning and you lost the locker room just after 2 seasons,
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
and you wonder why the Avs got rid of his ass.
Right. And you wonder why Boston even made the firing when they did, because they tanked.
They got worse.
Yeah. Way worse.
Well, that's kind of my point because it's like you trade Marchand, you fire away Montgomery, and it's like you're not getting any better anytime soon, and that's a guarantee. But at this rate, just based on the idea that's being surfaced about the egos that are being bruised in the league, and I should probably point out that this whole episode, the word ego is going to be thrown a lot because
Yep.
there is a lot of stories this week that
Oh,
have
yeah.
that have submerged into the word ego.
Yes.
And we are starting with this shithole known as the New York fucking Islanders. And the fact that the Islanders are such garbage, I'm not shocked by the results of this because they don't hustle, they can't play defense, and it's like, all right, Noah Dobson's terrible, so why aren't you calling him out? Oh, right, it's because Anthony DeClaire is a black guy. Is that right, Patrick, you racist bastard?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, literally, get your ass out of here. Go be a fucking degenerate someplace else. You're a Hall of Fame player, no question, but your ego as a head coach is so undeniably bad, dude. You have completely lost the locker room. No one actually likes you. And on top of all that, no one actually likes you, and to the point where this team could potentially miss the playoffs this year, all because you are too fucking arrogant to make some sort of an adjustment. And it's not just Patrick Waugh, mind you. This is also on Lou Lamoriello and John Ledecky and Scott and Malkin. Lou Lamoriello should have fucking retired 5 years ago, and I said this time after time and again. We always bitch and moan about the Sabres getting a president of hockey operations. Now you can hear me bitch and moan about Lou Lamoriello. Why don't you just fucking step down? You're going to be crippled in a few weeks anyway. You're like 80-something years old.
Right.
You're running this shithole team to the ground. You have your degenerate son, who's going to be the worst GM that's going to be coming up in the league probably by the summer, I assure you. Oh, and your spruced ego about the idea of like, oh, we have to play like the Devils from 20 years ago. Oh, we have to talk about, structure and we have to build this team. Dude, you have no fucking prospects. You haven't built anything from the fucking ground up. Look at the NHL prospect pool, and you tell me who's in the dead last in that bottom. I'll tell you right now, it's the fucking Islanders.
Yeah, and considering how bad the Sabres have been, at least we have a prospect pool.
Yeah, no shit. That's why I'm pissed off about this.
Yeah, our friend Brad over in Kentucky is jumping in on the chat, and he's basically said, "Yeah, we got tornado warnings and the flooding. Well, stay safe, buddy. You and the dogs. So
What-
yeah, definitely take
what's
it
the-
easy."
What's the name of the tornado? Patrick? Tornado Patrick?
Right, right?
Because you know what? Patrick Waugh can lick my nutsack, and he can drive it all the way back to Montreal, where he can fuck off for the rest of his career.
Oh, and speaking about ego, the Flyers got rid of an ego because Torts is no longer the coach.
Oh my god, dude.
And he said some stuff to basically make his way out very well known.
Aw, little Chortsy got his ego bruised.
Mhm.
Well, we should actually rename the episode King of the Egos.
Yeah, we could. We could.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And that is actually kind of funny too because Brad actually messaged me just privately right now, and he's actually one of my good buddies. I went to high school with him, and he ends up messaging me the Habs symbol. It's a team emblem, and a cat which says it's a toilet seat. I think
Uh,
referring to Wah.
God, he can fuck off tomorrow for all I care. Yeah, the Flyers. So last week on Thursday, they made a huge, stunning revelation with just at that time 9 games left to go to the regular season, and odds of them making the playoffs are very slim this year. So the Philadelphia Flyers announced that day, which was last Thursday, they announced that they have relieved John Tortorella from his head coaching duties, and they have promoted Brad Shaw as the interim head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers and will assume duties immediately. And the Flyers did not get any better. And believe me, brother, there's been a lot of shit that came out about that story.
It's just nuts. And apparently, this always happens with Torts. You get to the 3 years, and basically he wears out his welcome. And that happens every single place he goes.
Yeah, so let me put it this way. So Torts got fired, not because, the team is bad. He got fired because of what happened with Cam York. Remember that game, I think it was like 2017, where Sam Reinhart, about 8 years ago, he sat out the entire game in full gear, and Bilesma didn't like him, so he made him
Yep.
sit out the majority of the game, and Eichel was pissed off at that point.
Yep.
That's exactly what just happened to Cam York. So, according to Kevin Kurz, who used to cover the Islanders, who now covers the Flyers, he said that sources clarified that there was no altercation or physical altercation between Cam York and John Tortorella, but a heated verbal exchange that led to York's discipline of that night. Because I think they were playing the Leafs. They got blown out 7-2, or maybe
Yeah,
by
it was an
one.
ugly game either way.
Yeah. But then anyway, so the Flyers, they were not allowed to scratch York because the NHL rules don't allow teams to voluntarily play them short. So basically, Torts loopholed that rule and said, okay, I can't scratch him, so I'm going to make him sit the entire game. But then it doesn't get any better. So not only did John Tortorella do this, Brad Shaw did it. So Brad Shaw pretty much benched Cam York for the entire game. York was in the lineup but played no shifts on and sat on the entire bench for the game this past week on Thursday against the Montreal Canadiens as the Flyers used 5 defensemen that night. And Philadelphia already had 4 of their post-deadline call-ups, meaning they are currently unable to recall anyone else from the
Right.
AHL in healthy scratches. And Cam York normally would be that guy. But the strategy appeared to work when the Flyers beat the Canadiens.
Hmm.
Oh my God. So,
Yeah.
and here I thought Patrick Waugh had a big ego.
Yeah. Torts, like one of the biggest that you will find. And here's the interesting thing the Flyers have won the last three.
Quite literally.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what it is, but. I mean, it is funny. It's like I would say this. Like, remember, like one time I think a couple times we talked about it. It's like if the Sabres were to ever bring in John Tortorella as a head coach, how much of an ego shift and a culture shock it would be to this team.
Okay, you know what this will remind me of? You know that movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau, the remake
Yeah.
with the late Marlon Brando and now the late Val Kilmer, who,
Yep.
by the way, we should probably give a shout out. Rest in peace to Val Kilmer. He passed
Yeah,
away this morning.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah, or actually late last night.
yeah, that's sad. Yeah, I think he was really sick. He had pneumonia and he had throat
Yeah.
cancer and shit like
Yeah,
that.
he was dealing with throat cancer too because they actually had to use like a voice box in one of his movies recently.
Yeah, I think Top Gun Maverick, they dubbed his voice because of the cancer, but
Yeah.
because they said you can't make a Top Gun movie without Val Kilmer. So
Right.
I think that's one way of doing it. But in other rate, so rest in peace to Val Kilmer. But anyway, if you know the scenery behind that movie was so shit, not because of the production, but because of the amount of metric tons of shit that went on in that
Yeah.
movie behind the scenes with Marlon Brando and his big ego, and then Val Kilmer with his big ego at that time, and it was just two egomaniacs killing at each other. That's basically what's happening here. So if John Tortorella were to be brought in as the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres and having Lindy Ruff being promoted as president of hockey operations,
Oh
oh
man,
my God, they would literally fucking kill each other.
they would, and you know what? It would be fun to watch just for the sake of giving us some entertainment.
Oh dear God, dude, the Sabres would, if not already, the Sabres would already be a soap opera.
Yeah, they would. And there is actually something funny though that we'll talk about in the football segment coming up. But yeah, the worst owner of the NFL actually came out with with the NFL Players Association today. But I'm gonna hold off on that because we're gonna have a really good laugh when it comes to that. But
Oh God.
yeah, I'm gonna love talking about that. But neither here nor there. Of course, one of the things that also has been hinted at that Quebec Nordiques might finally, after all these years, be back in the NHL in the not too distant future.
Ah, absolutely.
It's
And the
about
only reason,
damn time.
yeah. So this news came out on Thursday at 3 p.m. from Kevin Weeks. He said,
Yes.
quote, he said, quote, he's got something cooking past the expansion, but it will be fire. So, in other words, and there's a picture of, I believe it's Ron Tugnan in Quebec Nordiques gear. So
Hmm.
that is an indication that the Quebec Nordiques are a top contender for expansion.
Finally. I mean, that's been one of the hockey markets they should have come back to, and honestly, is better than Winnipeg in terms of the support they have. They have a larger arena. They sell out almost 18,000 every night for junior hockey. Anytime the NHL has played there in exhibition games, they sell out. I mean, they have an NHL ready building. They're ready to go.
Quite literally.
And they have corporate support, which is even better.
Yeah, they have corporate support, but the issue is, as long as Buttman is the commissioner, he's going to say, oh, it's because of the Canadian dollar. No, Gary, shut the fuck up. Make it a final big goodbye before you retire
Hmm.
and make Quebec City an expansion team. You owe it to the city of Quebec.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? The dollar ain't as bad as it used to be. I will tell you
Yeah,
that.
well, quite literally, now that the U.S. is importing tariffs on Canada,
Yeah.
it's like it's Trump is literally saying to Canada, "Fuck off! You've been laying off of us for a while, so now we're gonna do it back to you." So now this whole tariff excuse with the cost coming down at this point,
Mm,
oh my God, like
yeah.
I cannot foresee a situation where um Quebec City does not become an expansion team because I think the goal is that the NHL, at least from what I'm looking at it, they want to expand it to 40 teams
Hmm.
in general. And some
Right.
people will say, well, isn't that a little bit much? What do you mean there's a little bit much? There's like over 60, 70 like college schools in the country.
Right.
You can't even keep track with whatever conference they're in. So it's only fair to say something eerily similar. But what's the purpose? Just more money? Like what's the
Mm,
purpose? Like, yeah, we want Quebec City to come back, but it's like it defeats the whole purpose of expansion because again, Bettman is trying to reincarnate dead franchises, Atlanta,
mhm.
Arizona, and then bring new markets like New Orleans and Houston and obviously bring back Quebec City. But I just find that really like head scratching to think that Quebec City is a candidate and coming from Kevin Weeks, usually when he says something like this, he's pretty spot on about it.
Yeah. He's one of the better insiders, in all honesty, when it comes to that. But it would be nice to finally have that Battle of Quebec again, like we had in the old days, where Montreal and Quebec City would beat the shit out of each other for 60 minutes on the ice. It's beautiful. I mean, and there have been some big time battles over the years. I mean, of course, we all remember the massacre, where there was over 100 plus penalty minutes that were thrown out and a lot of ejections. Which, if anyone has ever wanted to see that, go on YouTube and you'll find it there. Lots of good fighting and punching in the face contests in that one.
Usually that's how it works, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, it's a big plus. But even better, now the countdown is on. Ovechkin has reached 891. So I think it's safe to say he will beat the record this season. And apparently now it's to the point where Gretzky is going to every single game that Ovechkin's at.
Yeah, and you know what? Gretzky absolutely deserves this. He absolutely deserves to watch Alexander the Great break his record. And from what it sounds like, he wants Ovi to break his record because he knows he's so freaking close. Because I'll put it like this. I don't think, at least in our lifetime, we will never see another talented goal scorer ever again like Alex Ovechkin.
We probably won't. And you look at some of the players that have been in the league. I mean, Crosby's not going to be close to hitting that. McJesus is not going to be close to hitting that, and McJesus has been in the league for 10 years now.
And that's nuts.
It is. To even think that Connor McDavid's been in the league for 10 years.
And Austin Matthews has been in the league for almost 10. Next season will be his 10th year.
Yeah, and he's not anywhere near that. So,
No, he's not.
yeah, so to think that Ovechkin's been able to do it in, what, 20 years? In his playing time in the league, I mean, that's a great accomplishment just on the face.
I'll put it like this. Connor McDavid currently right now has 361 career goals, 711 assists, and has over 1,000 points. And he has a plus 160 rating. So Connor McDavid is a very talented player. No
Yeah.
question about that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
as talented I think he is, I don't see him breaking this record anytime soon. Do I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, do I think Connor McDavid will be in the all-time greats? Yeah, of course. But I do think that right now, I feel very pessimistic about his chances of even getting close to this record because nobody has reached this record as much as Alex Ovechkin because he is currently and we talked about this too.
Yeah.
I think we said a while back. I think when he was at like 13 goals, 12 goals, whatever it was. I think we talked about it. And we said, of all the players in the NHL, I think we argued that Austin Matthews is at least the closest one to break this record.
Right. Yeah, he would be, just based on what he's been able to do. Because, I mean, the way that Matthews plays, I mean, he's easily puts up 40 plus a year. So, I mean, he would be the only one that conceivably, over the next, like, 11 years or however long he's going to have, he's the only one I think that could potentially come close. But then, given how many seasons Ovechkin may still play in the NHL, I mean, he's 39 right now, but if he plays like another 2-3 seasons, that's just gonna pad everything. I mean, and even at that point, if he has like another couple seasons where he's hitting like 30 plus goals, I mean, that's gonna put him easily over 900. So then you have to look at that. I'm like, good luck for anyone else that even attempt to come close to that at that point.
Well, because he did say a while ago that he was intending to go play in the CSKA Moscow in the KHL once he breaks this record. So this could likely be the last season for Alex Ovechkin in the NHL. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, his contract ends next season, but he could opt out of it if the Capitals decide to do so. But
Right.
if it truly is the end of Alex Ovechkin with the NHL, he's going to ride into the sunset as one of the all-time greats.
Absolutely. I mean, he'll have the all-time scoring record in terms of number of goals. He did finally win a Stanley Cup, which is a great thing because I wanted him to win a cup. Oldest player ever to reach 50 goals in a season when he was 36. So lots of great stuff that he's accomplished in his time, and easily first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. But I do think though that Ovi though is such a gifted player. Like when he first came in the league, I remember saying to myself, "This kid's gonna be really damn good." I think the moment I think that really stuck out with me, watching him play within the last 20 years, was I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was from his rookie season, and I think Wayne Gretzky was the coach of the Coyotes at that time, where Alex Ovechkin is going into the crease, and Brian Boucher, I believe, is the goalie, and he's going down on his back, and he has no sight on the net or anything like that, and you could see Alex Ovechkin go down on his back, and the tip of the stick, and it's in a very awkward position. It just slides right in.
Yeah. I mean, he is crazy with some of the goals he's had over his career.
Oh
And
my
then,
God.
and the fact that even this season he's out a month or 6 weeks with a broken leg and he's still put up multi-goal games at the rate that he did. I think he had like a 4-goal game, like literally in the first week he came back. I mean, he without a doubt is one of the most gifted players we will ever see.
Oh yeah, and you know what too? And I kind of predicted this. I think this happened in December. I remember saying in the middle of the season, I said even if Ovi were to break his leg, I still
Hmm.
believe that he's going to break this record. And guess
Yeah.
what? He's 4 goals away from breaking this
Yeah.
record.
I mean, he made up for that in no time. I mean, he absolutely went full fury at it.
Oh yeah, dude, he went nuts. He went full Thanos on that situation.
Hmm.
Everything had to be balanced for him, and he literally walks back onto the ring after he broke his leg. He gets
Yeah.
back onto the ice, and he went full on Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet on his left hand with
Yeah.
the snap of his fingers. And
Yep.
now he's scoring pucks in the net left and right, and he's
Hmm.
invincible at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So it'll be fun, and I bet you it literally within, I would say, so today is the second.
Yes,
When do the Caps play next?
they're playing right now, but they're losing to the Hurricanes.
Okay, so let's see the Capitals schedule. So, oh God, yeah, they're losing 4-0 right now.
Yeah, they are not playing great. Unless Ovi actually scores, that doesn't matter to them.
Right. So seeing
The
with what
next
they
time
have
they
coming up, yeah, they play the 13th against the Blue Jackets. So, or actually, they play it. It looks like a home and home. So they're playing the 12th and the 13th. So
Well,
okay, so we got 2 games right there. So figure, let's say he gets 2 goals, and then
well, they
and
well
then
they actually play the Blackhawks on Friday.
okay, well that should be even easier then. So let's say a goal a game with the Blackhawks when they also play. Oh, actually, they have the Islanders coming up. So on Sunday the
Oh God.
6th. Then they play the Hurricanes on the 10th, and then they have the Capital, or then they have the Blue Jackets on the 12th and the 13th, and then they play the Islanders again on the 15th, and then they round it out with the Penguins on the 17th. Ooh, here. This would be interesting. How about even if he goes on a little slide here, if he were to get the record goal against Crosby,
I think that would be.
that would be poetic justice.
It certainly would be. And you know what too? I think not only I think would be poetic justice. I honestly think that would be like the perfect ending to the rivalry
Hmm.
because these two players have been killing each other for 20 plus years. Yeah, Crosby owns his ass in the playoffs. And the thing that really stands out about the two of them is they have respect for each other.
Hmm.
And they to me these are two generational players when they first came into the league, and it has completely changed the game of newcomers. It has completely changed the game for old school people like you and me.
Yep.
You know, it in a way it changes the course of the game of the sport of hockey for a lot of people in a sense. And for players like Crosby and Ovechkin, and for him to do that at 895 against the Penguins would be just perfect.
It would be. It would be. I would love to see that. Now, does it happen sooner? Probably. But if it were to happen against the Penguins, though, that is the perfect way to go out.
Probably. I mean, I would love for it to see against Pittsburgh. A lot of people thought, not even 2 weeks ago, a lot of people thought that he was going to break the record against Buffalo on
Hmm.
Sunday.
Yeah,
A lot of people,
and that
a
didn't
lot of people
happen.
were, yeah, a lot of people were buying into the hype. Yeah, Ovi literally scored a goal that game, but he didn't break the record. He
Hmm.
will, I think, eventually breaks this record, but
Yeah.
I think he's really going to go all in. I think what's going to happen is, and I'm just foreshadowing, I think he scores 1 goal against Chicago, and then he's going to score another 2 more goals, and then the big one comes against the Pens.
Hmm.
That's what
That
I think comes to.
that would be sweet. That would be sweet. So
Oh,
so it'd be interesting. We're gonna have some great hockey to watch with them coming up over the next week or two. So good stuff. But that being said, before we wrap up the hockey side of things, the Bruins and Senators are getting new uniforms.
oh boy. Did you see the new Bruins uniform?
All I will say is that if you haven't seen it, you probably won't like it.
I mean, unless you're a Bruins fan and is a fan of like the old school shit, I would imagine like people going bananas for those jerseys. But if you don't know what we're talking about, it's been almost 20 years since the Boston Bruins made a uniform change. Remember
Hmm.
the 100th anniversary design that they had a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever it
Yeah,
was?
yeah.
Yeah, it's eerily similar, except it's not the gold that we got from the 100th anniversary jersey, but
Hmm.
it's the classic Ray Bork era jerseys from the 90s.
Okay, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do remember those.
Yeah, with guys like Cam Neely, Ray Bork,
Hmm.
Andy Moog, all those guys, Adam Oates when he
Yep.
was on the Bruins, those players in general. That's the era the Bruins are going with. And there's a major, major difference in this jersey. Is yes, it's that exact jersey, the Happy Gilmore jersey, we'll call it. Uh,
Oh yeah, and Happy Gilmore 2 is out now, I think.
oh yeah, but the crazy thing about that jersey is it's not the meth bear that's going to be on there. It's
Hmm.
the Winter Classic logo from 3 seasons ago with the bear on it that was never unveiled in
Hmm.
public,
Yep.
and then it has the bear on it and it says Bruins, kind of like the one the Sabres have with the
Yeah,
buffalo. It's similar in a way.
got it. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much what they had from 7 to 23. So, pretty interesting, overall. But then, of course, the Senators, they've got new stuff that's coming out also.
Like I said, the Bruins ones are going to be very interesting. I'm fully expecting a announcement from the Boston Bruins for a new uniform set this summer. Same with Vancouver, but we'll get to them later.
Hmm.
As for Ottawa, there is a leaked jersey that actually a picture got leaked on the internet from Sports Logo Net the other day.
Hmm.
And it was actually originally found on Reddit. And somebody got a glimpse of the new alternate jersey for the Ottawa Senators next season in 2025
Hmm.
26. And it's a red jersey. I
Hmm.
don't know how you feel about it, but to describe it, because we are a vocal, podcast,
Hmm.
it's a red jersey and it has some sort of resemblance of the LA Kings lettering. If you get what I'm saying, like the old Dustin Brown era jerseys when they won the Stanley
Yeah.
Cup. The lettering looks exactly like eerily similar to that style, but it's black and gold.
Hmm.
And it has a shoulder patching in black with the classic Sens logo on it.
Hmm.
It's very it's different. It
Yeah.
it
It,
looks
it,
like an ECHL jersey.
yeah, it definitely is a little bit different. And I've seen a couple of like different views of it. And it's interesting to see some of the things that they've done because I mean, yes, to that point too. I mean, it's very much a classic Sens logo, but at the same time, the red and black on it kind of reminds me in some way how it was similar to the Sabres third jersey back in the day when they had the goat heads. So
Yes.
very similar to that. And actually, I do still have my classic Stu Barnes red third jersey. So I've never gotten rid of that because there's no way anyone could pay me enough to get rid of that at this point. But
I'll pay you 500.
no, it's worth more than that. But even then, but it is interesting to see what they are going for, and especially with the red and the black, and then the classic logo. So I don't know how to feel about it, but it is something a little bit different.
Yeah. Do you think the Buffalo Sabres, since you brought it up, do you think they're going to go for a redesign of their uniforms, or do
I'd,
you think they should keep it the way it is?
I'd love to see them go back to the goat head and reintroduce the red third jersey.
Well, I have heard people say that they might consider it because if you've been noticing, uh, the Sabres have been advertising the red and black a lot lately. And
Yeah.
that to me is an indication, whether it's on hockey cards, whether it's on news articles, whether it's, on NHL.com or
Hmm.
anything, it's just common ground. I've seen a lot of people throwing around the go ahead uniform. And that to me, in that game that happened, I think in late March, a
Hmm.
couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
against the Red Wings, that to me, I think, is a spark of interest that a lot of people are thinking, all right, they're probably going to wear blue that night. No, they wore the black alternate jerseys on the road in
Hmm.
Detroit. And that to me was a foreshadow of what could happen in a few months, which is a complete rebrand, going back to the red and black uniform. Because I got to tell you, as much as I like the classic blue gold look and the
Hmm.
modernization of it, I don't like the blue home jersey.
Yeah, and I honestly have not bought the current version of it. Now, I will say I have the blue and gold alternate when they had that out with which was the Coletta jersey, which I had them sign. But other than that, I mean, if they were to go back to the red and black and go back to the goat head era, I would love it. And there's actually a lot of people around here that would love to see that look again.
I actually seen people really shit on the goat head jersey, but that's just an opinion. Everyone's got an asshole, right? Everyone's entitled to it.
Yeah.
But I must say, as far as a rebrand, I do think it could happen. But at the same time, you have to think what the fans approve it because there are some real hardcore fans.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying we're not hardcore, but
Right.
what I'm saying is that there are people, and because I own the white Reebok version, or I'm sorry, the white Adidas jersey,
Hmm.
the current road jersey, but in
Yeah.
white. I have that jersey because it's extremely rare to get on NHL.com, but I have that jersey. But I don't wear it because it's really, really nice. But
Hmm.
aside the point, I think that if they were to bring back the road jersey of the goat head, I think that would sell instantly.
Yeah.
Same way it's happening right now with the Utah Hockey Club. Yeah, it's a rare jersey because they're not going back to that uniform next season, so you might as well go get it while you still have a chance. But the problem is they're all sold out. I could foresee that happening with the Sabres, where they abandon the blue and gold once again and then go back to red and black. I
Hmm.
want, so help me God, I want that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, do it. I mean, you need something. And the bottom line is, I mean, that red and black, I mean, it was a sharp jersey that they had. And I absolutely love the look that they had back at the time. So certainly I think, time to do it. Let's have it happen. So that's how I would approach it. But that being said, we'll go into the second half. We're actually into the second half hour already. So, of course, for everyone joining us, we appreciate it. And if you want to check out our older episodes, of course, go to Spotify. Buffalo After Dark is on there. We have seasons 4 and 5. So, of course, check us out. But going into the football part, so I told you a little bit about this. The NFLPA had a vote on who the worst owner is in the NFL. And it surprisingly is not Terry Pagula.
Well, that's obvious.
Yeah. You want to take a guess at who it is?
Jerry Jones.
No.
Who?
Woody Johnson of the New York Jets. The only owner to have an F grade out of all 32 teams is
Oh
voted
dear
by the
God.
NFLPA. But you want to know what's even funnier? So
What's funny?
when Woody was asked about it, he basically and what it said on there is it emphasized a need for constant improvement. He basically said, "quote My first read is I think it is totally bogus."
Bogus?
Yeah,
Woody?
yeah. And he said, "quote I thought this whole setup, the way it was done, is all that's enough said on that. But we want to get better every day in every category. I want to be number one in everything. All of our people do. We want to be number one, like we are girls in flag football. We are number one or two in the country, and that's where we want to be in everything, including on the field, but also off the field in all of our philanthropy. So if there's areas we can improve, and there's always areas we can improve, not because of this bogus report, we're going to do it."
You,
This is so
imagine
fucking
the.
stupid.
I am so dumbfounded by the stupidity that came out of his mouth.
Yeah. And then when Woody Johnson was pressed more about it, he refused to talk about it. So he's in total denial.
Of course he is. What did you expect him to say? Yeah, I'm proud to say I'm not proud to say I'm the worst owner in the league. I mean,
Oh
hello,
my
Woody. You know,
god.
you run a hockey, you run a football team. Actually do your fucking job.
Yeah. So yes, it is official. Woody Johnson is the only owner in the NFL to get an F.
Of course he did.
And that actually just came out on the 31st, so that is some fresh news there. But I had to throw
Well, that's
that in there.
hilarious.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there as like one of our funny moments because yeah, Woody Johnson is that delusional. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
no question about that.
yeah. But then of course he had to deal with Aaron Rodgers, and of course now that they don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore, I was gonna say Rob Hazu, if you are out there and want to jump on because I would love to get your take on this, feel free. But it looks like the Steelers might have Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God.
It's just funny to me because it's like last week we heard reports the day after last week's episode. The following morning, we got a tweet from Adam Schefter, and I'll read it to you precisely what he said. He said that he's hearing about Aaron Rodgers that he might not play football this coming year. He said, quote, I think that first of all, they both need each other right now. And frankly, and that's if Aaron wants to play, which I'm not convinced yet that he does. Until I hear him say, I want to play, then I can tell you people are asking that question about whether or not he wants to play, but it's come up. I'm hearing that he might not want to play, which, by the way, again, I don't want to speak for him because I don't want to get called out for it. We're speculating, but it shouldn't be that hard. Either you want to play for the Steelers or you don't. What are you waiting for?
Exactly.
Fucking Aaron Rodgers. It's me, me, me. All about
Yeah.
me. I want my attention.
Exactly. And he wants his ayahuasca. He wants his money for the Pat McAfee show.
Oh,
He
shit.
wants more money for ayahuasca.
Yep, I think we have breaking news, guy.
All right.
Alex Ovechkin is now 3 goals away.
Ooh, all right.
He just scored on the power play with 34.5 seconds left to go. He is now at goal number 892.
There we go. 3 away from
Just
the
as-
record.
Just as we were talking about him, off a one-timer pass from the new kid, Ryan McLeod. In the
Nice.
graph, the great chase, Alex Ovechkin, has just come up on the primetime TV on TNT Sports. Boom. Alex Ovechkin off a one-timer in Raleigh.
Very nice. Very nice. So, that is awesome to see. Awesome to see. Shit, we might actually see it by the start of next week.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, back to football. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers.
Yep.
Yeah. So hold on.
Yeah, talking
You're
about
telling me-
ayahuasca, man.
Yeah, ayahuasca man is whining like a little bitch. He's taking his sweet ass fucking time, and we're almost at the draft. And the Steelers need to know, dude, are you playing for us or are you not going to play for us?
Right.
Because if you're not going to play for us, we'll go get Kirk Cousins. Which I actually have a story on this, by the way. And what was I going to say? Right here. And this is being said by Mary Kay Cabot, who actually covers the Browns. She said that the Steelers will likely be interested in Kirk Cousins if Aaron Rodgers does not sign with him. And that's even despite the fact the Atlanta Falcons said we're not trading him.
Right. Which is absolutely crazy. So now it's like, okay, well, you have to decide who you want. You're going to have to get a QB because Mason Rudolph ain't going to do anything for you.
No, and guess what? There was a video that came out recently of Aaron Rodgers. Tell me if you've heard this before, or in this case, stop me if you've heard this before. That Aaron Rodgers is, quote, working out with DK Metcalf.
Yeah. So we already know where that may go.
Fuck me. Just sign, dude. Sign with the Steelers. Are you going
Right.
to play or are you not going to
Yeah,
play?
just get it done already. It's like, stop the drama.
Jesus Christ. And again, now I understand why people fucking hate this guy. Because it's like, dude, you had all offseason to make your goddamn decision. You're not fucking LeBron, okay? You're not Tom Brady. I think the big thing is, and again, the word ego is being thrown around on tonight's show, is Aaron Rodgers' ego doesn't want to get bruised in the public eye. So because now he's being linked to the Steelers, and I will tell you right now, Rob Hazu, our good buddy Rob Hazu, will have a fucking heart attack if the words are Aaron Rodgers will sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I
boy.
promise you.
We would have to have him on air for that because,
Oh dear God.
yeah, it'll be like the road to 32 in Cincinnati when Joey Porter Jr. almost cost him the game.
Oh my God.
And he had the
a
meltdown.
fucking aneurysm.
Yeah, remember that?
Oh my God, yeah. And I
Oh,
think that was
man.
like the first night we came home from like driving
Yeah.
12 hours in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and after we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and had some beers and wings and other stuff, and then we ended up coming back and watching football before we all passed out.
My
So,
God, yeah.
yeah.
No, Rob is already saying I don't want him on the
I
Steelers.
don't blame him.
And yet, Artie Rooney II is like, we want Aaron to come to Pittsburgh. We need the money and the revenue. No, you fucking don't. You don't need
Right.
shit. You need
Right.
you need a winning program. And you know what's funny too? DK Metcalf wants Aaron Rodgers. Mike Tomlin wants Aaron Rodgers. Dan Rooney wants. Oh, I'm sorry. Art Rooney II
Yeah.
wants Aaron
The
Rodgers.
fans don't.
The fans don't want him. Again, going back to the whole ego thing we were talking about, King of the
Yeah.
Egos, mind you. That's
Yeah.
the name of the episode. King of the Egos is Aaron Rodgers' ego is being bruised by the media. And you know what? He pulled this shit 2 years ago
Yep.
when he was with the Packers.
Yeah.
Remember when he bitched and moaned, he whined and cried, and he said, the only team I would want to play for right now is the New York Jets.
Yeah. And he got out. He got traded. And look what
He got
happened.
tra-
It blew up in his face.
And Green Bay won that trade. And I knew immediately Green Bay won that deal.
Yeah.
I immediately knew that. Because it's like, thank God we don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers. Then Jets fans went on this false hype of saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers is our savior. He's going to get the team a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No, the fuck he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. And Jordan Love worked out very well for the Pack. So,
Oh,
but-
yeah, dude.
yeah, he's a good QB. But you want to know about some other drama? Good old James Cook. And now he has decided, I'm going to go ahead and put my Orchard Park mansion up for sale because I want to make sure that I'm getting paid and I don't care about anyone else except for me because the team is all about me. It's me, and I.
Well, I'm going to put this into context. So, yes, the story of James Cook putting his mansion up for sale on the market came out today. But prior to that, this comment was made, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, leading up to the draft. Brandon Beane was asked about the extension between Christian Bedford and James Cook, which we'll get to Christian Bedford in
Yeah.
a little bit. But
Good
let's
signing,
talk
by
about
the
James
way.
Cook.
But we'll talk
Yeah.
about this first.
Yeah, we need to talk about this because this is going to be real shit star right here. So, Brandon Beane made a comment about James Cook. He said, quote, I don't see us doing any deals anytime soon, and we are on to the draft. Just because we don't have James signed today does not mean we can't get a deal done next year before free agency. So, again, James Cook, a month ago, if you remember, he said, I don't want to be a distraction. I just want to get paid $15 million. You know what? Now I really hope he can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
Because so not only is he whining and crying like a bitch on social media, he's also whining and crying like a bitch in personal life. So because you don't get what you want, you cry like a bitch on Zillow or Willow, whatever they want to call it. I
Yeah.
don't. You know what I'm
puts
talking
his house
about.
up for sale.
Puts his house up on for sale on Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com, whatever the fuck you put it at. But yeah, that little mansion that you were very granted to have, the dude is legitimately taking his career for granted. And I don't give two shits if James Cook is as talented as he is. He's a great running back, but again, there are so many pros and cons about this whole James Cook situation. For one, no running back does not ever deserve 15 million. No running back
Right.
should ever be getting 15 million. The only one currently who deserves 15 million is Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. And because he got a ring, and he ended up basically hitting the record this past season, and he's actually a good running back.
Yes, and he was very productive for the Eagles this past year. So
Absolutely.
props to Saquon. But the other thing I must mention is James Cook wants 15 million. We already knew this. This was already addressed because we knew that James Cook, what I think is going to happen is to really piss him off is I think Bean is going to actually franchise tag him because
Good.
I am almost certain of this, but he's gonna pout like a bitch. He already said, if I don't get my contract by training camp, I'm gonna sit out. Okay, then fucking sit out. You're replaceable, dude.
Exactly. And simple. We can draft a running back. The draft is only, what, a month away?
Not even.
Not even.
Not even. It's like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Right. Yeah. We can easily draft a replacement in the draft. We can easily go and get somebody in free agency if we wanted. We can elevate someone that we already have.
Or do this. Draft a running back in the second or third round.
Exactly.
Hell.
Get good value.
Hell, I'll even do this. I'll even go crazy. How about trade up in the middle of the draft? Trade this year's first and next year's first in the mid-teens and draft Ashton Gentry out of Boise State.
There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah, quite literally. But
Yeah.
that's not the only thing that's going on in Buffalo right now. That's oh god. Fuck me, man. James Cook is acting like a fucking diva and he's acting like a real crybaby because he's not getting what he wants and he's taking his like I said, he's taking his career for granted.
Yeah, it's nuts. And look what his brother Delvin did. He pulled the same crap. Where is he now?
Yeah, he's a practice squad running back for the Cowboys.
Exactly.
If not as a free agent.
Exactly. Where'd that get him? Pfft, nowhere.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit, dude. If James Cook is gonna still pout and cry until he gets what he wants, because here's what my big issue with James Cook is. James Cook is a good running back. There is no denying that. However, the dude only plays 40% of the snaps,
Hmm.
and he has his flaws, which is understandable.
Right.
But at the same time, he has to understand if he wants the Bills to win the Super Bowl, he's going to have to be a team player. Josh Allen could do it easily. Josh Allen got a massive extension,
Yeah.
but he took a lower pay cut because he said, "I want to win a Super Bowl. I'm doing what's best for the team."
Exactly.
He doesn't give a fuck about the team. The only thing he cares about is that sweet ass paycheck. And usually when players get a paycheck like that, I remember when Le'Veon Bell pulled this shit because he thought $12.5 million was insulting, and that's why he left the Steelers to go play for the Jets. It was
Yeah.
all about the money. He didn't give a fuck about the Jets, and the same thing is happening here with James Cook.
Exactly.
If James Cook is gonna cry and whine about his contract, then dude, go fuck yourself. Go someplace else that's actually going to give you the money and put that team in cap hell. The Bills are not interested in crying into this bullshit. They're interested in winning a Super Bowl, not deal with this bullshit.
Cleveland.
Or New Orleans.
Yeah, that too. Cleveland,
God.
where everyone goes to just take the money.
I have never been this angry at a podcast in my life.
Actually, you were one other time when you brought the bullhorn out with how bad the Sabres were way back in the day.
They still are.
I know. And kind of funny how on my Facebook page today, our memory of the Fire Housley sign from New York, from the Islanders, and the old barn came up in the memories.
Yeah, I saw that. And
Good times.
fond memories.
Yes.
Fond
And
memories.
good old Harrington basically is like, oh, hey, early on in this game, here's a fan that has a sign saying to Fire Housley.
And all I got was fucking hate mail and tweets. Boo! You're a fuckhead! You're
Right.
not a real fan! Things like that. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we've talked about that before, the Swedish media incident episode, so we've talked about that. But otherwise, yeah, Benford got extended, which is definitely a great signing. Glad to
Yes.
see him staying here. They needed to get that done. And, oh, here's the way. James Cook, maybe if you would shut your damn mouth, maybe you would have had a deal by now.
Or better yet, maybe if he didn't actually open his big mouth to begin with, I think 5,
Exactly.
15 million on Instagram, pinning his own comment, that maybe this drama would have never have happened, you egotistic prick.
Exactly. But instead, Benford just went about his business, handled it like he should. Here you go. You're with us for
And
the
that's-
next 4.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Listen, he deserves that money.
Yeah.
It's 76
Great player.
million for 4 seasons, which is good. You know, it's a good contract. I mean,
Exactly.
And-
It's good with the cap. I mean, team friendly. But the thing is, he put the work in and he deserves it.
yeah, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was a practice squad player.
He was. And he moved his way up. He put the work in and he did what he had to do to get a roster spot. So, hey, kudos to him.
And now he got paid like one.
Exactly. And then, of course, there are some other plans coming up for the Bills. But I will say, have you had a chance to see the newest stadium pictures and everything with all the construction going on?
I did. It looks great.
Yeah, it is huge if you go by it in person. I mean, it really is. That thing is coming along real quick. But it's also nice to finally see what it looks like with the actual seating bowl in place. It is definitely going to be a lot different than the current stadium, but I look at it as a good way too. I mean, it looks like there are some pretty cool sections in there.
Well, I do want to talk about the Bills a little bit because there's a lot of information that came out this week about the Bills. And Bill COO Pete Galale, who's not only doing the Bills, but he's also doing the Sabres, he actually came out at full force this week about the plans and the future of the Buffalo Bills as far as what they're going to do at the new stadium and things like that.
Hmm.
And one of the things that came out were two things. He said the Buffalo Bills have confirmed that they are trying to indeed bring an outdoor game to New Highmark
Yeah,
Stadium in 2028 for the 20th anniversary of the Winter Classic, which I think would be a great idea.
love to see it.
Yeah, that's number one. And number two, he also said that there are plans for the current Highmark Stadium, which is entering its final season, to be torn down or demolished in
Yep.
March of 2027.
Yes. So that definitely was one of the news stories this week. And here's one of the things that would happen with it. Obviously, I mean, it's going to be torn down, so there can be parking and different things put in. But one of the things we talked about last week, there actually may be things to do near the new stadium once it's in there, because they are also looking at redevelopment, and basically with having that stadium site torn down, they might actually have some hotels, bars, restaurants, shops, different things to do, and make it a true year-round destination, which actually would be a good thing for Orchard Park. And the town finally approved it after 50 years of the stadium being there.
Maybe that's what they've been waiting on, was a new stadium to come along and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." But I think isn't the new I'm sorry, isn't the current Highmark Stadium, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the new I keep saying the new. Is the old Highmark Stadium currently where they are now? Is that owned by the county?
So that is currently owned by the county. The new stadium is owned by the state. So the county is out of the stadium business altogether once the stadium's done. But at year 15, the Terry Pagula can actually buy the stadium and have it privately owned.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll be around for that.
Probably not.
Maybe his kids, but here's the thing: both Terry and Kim Vagula are both ill, like not terminally, but like they're more like they're starting to head into decline health wise, and I don't think they have interest in passing it on to the kids.
Yeah, who knows? There is that minority ownership now, so I mean, watch probably have like a consortium come up and different things happen with it. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, there are also plans that we don't know about that they might end up doing. So I mean, it could stay within the Pagula family. It may go to one of the owners in the consortium, because they ended up selling about like 20% of the team. So it could go really in either direction, but yes, the county will no longer own the stadium once next season is done. They're out of the stadium business, and that's going to be it. And then, of course, now the state will own the new one for the first 15 years, and then ownership can buy the stadium after that and basically have it privately run.
Yeah, I mean it's very, very possible. I mean, there's no denying that whatsoever. But it's just interesting how the county, I think it was Erie County that owns
Hmm.
the stadium.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Islanders. Like the Coliseum was owned by Nassau County, and
Hmm.
then the Islanders won the bid about nearly 10 years ago for the land for UBS Arena, and they got the
Hmm.
new stadium, and they're grateful that they're going to stay there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Islanders have full control of that stadium, not the county.
Right. Yeah, it's a similar situation with the Sabres, even, because actually, no, now to think about it, I mean, Erie County owns the KeyBank Center, but the Sabres control it. So the Sabres are responsible for any improvements, they're responsible for the booking of events and different things like that. It's just because it sits on county land, essentially, they own it. Now, could theoretically the Sabres buy it from the county? Sure, they could. I mean, actually, it'd probably be better if they did, but then it is what it is. So similar situation, but yeah, the state is going to own the new stadium at least for the first 15 years. But I will say the progress they've made on that and how quick it went up. I mean, they're on or ahead of schedule.
Oh yeah, I mean that stadium. That stadium's gonna look great when it
Yeah.
fully comes out.
And I will say it is, if you go by it in person, just seeing how tall that stadium is compared to the current one, it is totally different, because the field is not sunk below street level like the current one is. It's actually at street level. So literally the new stadium is at least like two or three times the height of the current Highmark Stadium.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at an aerial picture between the two stadiums. I can see what you're talking about because it's like very shallow in the
Hmm.
lower levels
Yeah.
of the current stadium right now, but the new one is literally above ground, and it's like it's kind of like a barricade in a sense
Hmm.
where it's like the current one is literally just an open shell. It's like
Yeah.
out in the open, and
Yeah,
there's
and you
no.
only see the upper deck from the street. You don't even see the lower deck. So the new stadium, I mean, you actually could see on a good day, you can see the skyline of downtown from the upper deck.
Yeah, and then it's funny. I actually saw a video not that long ago of the stadium from that view of the roof, where you can
Hmm.
actually see downtown Buffalo.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So, I mean, I love how it's coming along as quickly as it is, and I mean, they've got the seating decks already in. I would say about 90% of the canopy is already in. So, they're they're not messing around. They're getting it done.
Yeah, and I'm happy for the Bills. They're actually
Yeah.
making changes.
Yeah, I'm gonna love seeing that grass field going though, like the real
Oh yeah,
grass, not the turf.
oh yeah, that
So,
big time.
yeah, so that'll be fun. But yeah, that being said, one other thing on the football side, Brock Purdy, yeah, contract talks have basically stalled.
Oh yeah, that's gonna. I think anybody who follows the 49ers knew this was gonna be a very slow, painful death of the team. They're not gonna be good next year, even with the
No,
weapons they have. They're not.
nope.
And it's being said by John Lynch, the general manager of the 49ers. He said that the Niners and Brock Purdy's team are, quote, not too optimistic that an extension will be completed by the start of the offseason program, which I believe starts next month because you have the, what's it called? Mandatory OTAs,
Yep.
and then you have,
Yeah, the mini camp and then of course you have the
yeah.
training camp. So
Well, this is also when you get to see new players who signed with you actually
yeah,
do things for a little bit. But I mean, it is an obligation that these players come and go and do what they got to do. But at the same time, you have a contract to pay off. Because Brock Purdy, if I'm not mistaken, he said he wanted to be the highest paid player, at least one in a quarterback standpoint, in the NFL.
not gonna happen, Brock.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not going to happen. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Mahomes and Allen are way better than you.
Yeah, and even Lamar Jackson is better than you.
Right. I'd even throw Joe Burrow in there to an
That's
extent,
funny.
but
That's funny.
yeah, sorry, Brock. You're not worth that money. But
No, you're not.
oh man. But that being said, a couple other things actually, and we'll wrap up. We'll go into our baseball segment to end out the show. But one of the big things that has stirred a lot of talk in the past week, ever since opening day, the Yankees torpedo bats, and a lot of people are saying, why are these things legal? But then the Yankees ended up coming back out and they said, well, we're just concentrating where most of the mass is going to hit the ball so we can actually hit the ball better. So it's just kind of interesting seeing like the actual shape of the torpedo bat and the whole thought process on it.
It's funny because I saw that post also, not even a few days ago. I think this was on Sunday morning I saw this. And DraftKings actually made a headline about it saying this past offseason, the New York Yankees redesigned their bats, moving a chunk of the wood down into the label, leading to the hardest part of the bat striking the ball. In
Hmm.
the Yankees' second game of the season, I believe it was against the Brewers,
Yeah, it's a home
they
run
hit.
frenzy.
Yeah, Nestor Cortez decided to fold very quickly against his old team, and the Yankees actually broke a record in that game. And they struck out 9 home runs, led by Aaron Judge as with three, as the Yankees won 20-9 over Milwaukee. So let me get this straight. So this so-called torpedo bat that the New York Yankees had the audacity to fix up,
Hmm.
they basically set up a record for the most home runs, 15 through the team's first 3 games,
Yeah,
all because of the design of the bat.
yeah. And here's the thing: the design of the bat's legal.
I have a feeling, just my philosophy, I have a feeling that it's going to get banned by next winter, mainly because it's the Yankees.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, because you have to remember something. Baseball at this point has become a strikeout league.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's literally what
Yeah.
it is. It used to be a home run league. Now it's a strikeout league.
Hmm.
And what I think Rob Manfred is allowing is he's allowing the evil empire to regain control because obviously they lost in the World Series back in October when season 5 started.
Yep.
And and I just find it interesting that the Yankees can't do shit without Soto. So they said, you know what? We're gonna go and do the second best thing. We're gonna redesign our bats.
Yep.
And now they're breaking records like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
I don't know. You don't find that a coincidence?
It's weird how it automatically happened once they lost Soto.
It's nuts. It's really nuts, honestly. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Some people have said the Mets even did it. Not when before he wasn't even a trend. But I think it's just because it's the New York Yankees. A
Yeah.
lot of people are drawing on them.
Yeah. And it doesn't surprise me either. So it'll be interesting to see how things go at the end of the season, what Major League Baseball decides to do. But yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like for the bat. So
I mean, it's pretty fucking ugly if you ask me.
yeah, it is. I mean, and I understand their thought process, but at the same time, it's like, why now? Why after Soto ended up walking and going to the Mets? It's like you
It's
could have used it last year.
it's insanely idiotic if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
Why can't they just be like a normal baseball team for once? But instead, they have to be a bunch of twats and literally ruin it for
Hmm.
everybody. Oh, look at us. We scored 15 home runs in 3 games with these new bats.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's
I,
nuts.
quite literally, it's almost like the Yankees. The Yankees to me are a bunch of fucking hypocrites
Hmm.
because remember during I think it was the 2019 offseason where it was revealed that the Astros cheated with the trash can thing?
Yep.
Yeah, newsflash, the Yankees also cheated too. And
Yeah.
that's not even the worst part. The worst part is not only do they have these torpedo bats, they're not even the best team in the AL East.
Yeah. Seriously.
You know who the best team in the AL East is right now?
Oh,
You want to
this
know who
is
it is?
good. Yeah.
The fucking Blue Jays.
Yeah. I did watch their game the other night.
Oh dear God. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine being the fucking Yankees, where you had to manipulate your bats into whatever the flying hell that was, and then you're the second best team in your own division to a team that has less talent than you.
Yeah. And using a regular bat.
Yeah, quite literally. I don't know if it's Bo Bichette going on a tear, or if it's Vlad Guerrero going on a tear, or Max Scherzer, they're 20 years younger. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's-
Scherzer actually does not look like ass right now.
Well, he's also old, and
Right.
I think like right now Scherzer is like on a title. You know, he's hanging in the balance.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be a future Hall of Famer regardless what happens.
Right.
But I just find it hilarious that the Yankees are all they're pumping their chest about these new bats, and then it's like, oh, look at us, we're the hot shit, we're the best team in baseball.
Yep.
Number one, no, you're not. Number two, the Blue Jays right now are better than you. And three, the Padres and the Dodgers combined have more wins than the New York Yankees.
Yeah. And you want to know who else is pumping their chest right now? Good old Jurickson Profar getting 80 games for roids.
Oh, that's lovely. He
And-
pulled a Robinson Cano.
Yeah. And of course he's like, oh, I was tested all these times last year, but nothing ever happened. But, dude, you got busted for roids. Just shut the fuck up already.
Yeah, literally. Okay, Pinocchio, calm down.
Yeah. You knew you were using the PEDs. You knew you were using them.
I remember, funny
man.
story. I actually remember this happened. You weren't into baseball at the time, but I remember this happened with the Mets with Robinson Cano when he got traded to the Mets. I think it was his third year. He got suspended by Major League Baseball for 80 games for the same fucking thing
Yeah.
that Jurickson Provar is right now. That is hilarious.
Right.
So,
And of course he's out of the playoffs even when he comes back. So that's how that's going.
even if they make the playoffs,
Exactly.
and it's not even a guarantee they make the playoffs because half of their fucking pitching core is hurt, and on top of all that, half of their hitters are not even playing that well right
Right.
now. Like Ron Acuna is not playing up to the standards.
Yeah.
It's, Like, oh my God.
Literally, we're
I
only
mean,
2 weeks into the season, so
like, we're not even a month into the season, and the Braves are already playing like shit. Like,
yeah.
what did you expect was gonna happen?
I know. But God, 80 games. Good job, man.
Oh my God, dude!
Jesus.
Literally, I want to read something to you.
Yeah.
The NL East is a freaking shithole. Listen to this: the Phillies are 3-1, okay, and then you
All right.
have the Marlins, okay, at 4-3. They lost to the Mets tonight. You have the Phillies, the Marlins, and the Mets in your top three. The Nationals at 1-5. Who's in last place at 0-6? The Braves.
God, they are off to a rough start.
Oh my God. I, 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 I would have to think they're probably easily Razor Rennell the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, it's not even close. I mean, San Diego's looking good out in the West, but and of course I watched the Dodgers game the other night, so they're playing well.
It's gonna come down to them and the Padres for the NL West.
Yeah, yeah, it would. I mean, they're both on fire right now. Hell, even the Angels are playing better than the Braves. What does that tell you?
How is that possible?
I know, right?
Hell, the fucking White Sox are playing better than the Braves.
Yeah, and we already wrote them out of the playoffs last year.
And you know what's really embarrassing too? Look at the standings for the AL Central. Just do me
It's
a favor. Go take
bad.
a look at that.
It's
Yeah,
bad.
go look at that. Yeah, go look at that division. Tell me what's wrong with this.
Yeah, the Twins are on top at 2-4. Everybody's at 2-4.
No shit. That's why I
Yeah,
said it.
yeah. The Twins, the Guardians, the White Sox, the Royals, and the Tigers.
They're all ass.
Yeah. It's like, wow, the White Sox have actually won more games in the first 2 weeks of the season than last year.
Hell, I mean, they have the same record as the Red Sox.
I know. Oh my
They have the
God.
same record as the Astros. They have the same record as a good portion of Major League Baseball, but they have a better record than the Braves.
Oh
What
my
is going
God.
on?
It is bad, guys.
What is going on?
It is rough. I mean, and even looking at it, just like on the whole, I mean, for the AL East to have the exact same, it's bad. But then when you look at how the teams are in the AL and the NL, I mean, obviously, right now in the American League, the Blue Jays, the Rangers, those are the top two teams. But then when you look at but when you go down, the Chicago White Sox are actually 2 spots above last place in the AL.
I don't understand the AL Central. I truly
Yeah.
don't. How is everybody in that division so bad right now?
Right. The only two teams are worse than Chicago right now: the Boston Red Sox and the Athletics, whatever the hell we want to call them now, whether it's Sacramento or Oakland or whatever it is.
It's gonna be Las Vegas, but
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah. But you want to know what the difference is for the A's right now in terms of like the runs scored versus runs against?
What?
Minus 20. The Brewers are the only one worse at minus 26.
Take me out to the ball game. Take
Right.
me out to the crowd.
Right. Hey, at least the Mets have a positive 4, so that's good.
Well, it's so early in the season, though.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the Mets played 6 games, but Jesus Christ. I mean, listen, I expect the Mets. It's so early. The season just started like a week ago.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me how everybody is in such a shitty start, aside from the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah, both those teams are 7-0 to start the season. And I mean, the Mets are in the middle. They're at 500, 3-3, but the Braves are the only one at 0-6.
Imagine that. They're going to be the worst team in baseball if this continues.
Yeah. But thinking about it also, Garrett Crochet gets paid, and even better, he throws a career high 8 innings as the Red Sox blank the Orioles 3-0.
Yep. So he got 6 years, $170 million by the Boston Red Sox, and he has an opt-out after 2030.
So not bad. You get paid.
That, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not a bad deal if you're a Red Sox fan because you literally paid a lot of money for this guy in free agency, and you give him a handsome extension, and that was it. All we heard
Yep.
in like December was Garrett Crotchet was visiting with the Mets. Oh, never mind. We didn't get that. Instead, he goes to the Red Sox, and
Hmm.
he's going to be on that mediocre team for a little while. But hey, if Boston gets better, then they get better.
Yeah.
I have no way around that.
Right. And then, of course, wrapping it up on the baseball side of things, Lance Lynn has decided to call it quits.
Yep. And he is retiring after 14 seasons, most notably playing for the White Sox and the Cardinals. But I should also mention, because this just came out today as well, is Jackson Merrill has agreed to a 9-year, $135 million contract with the San Diego Padres.
Ooh, that's gonna help them out.
Oh, yeah. And there was another contract, if I could find it. This came out a couple hours ago from the Diamondbacks, and I want to read real quick because that to me is hilarious. And it's actually, I think it's about Ketel Marte. I believe that's what it was.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a pretty hefty contract too that he got. So let me just find it in a few seconds and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I mean, goddamn, dude. I mean, good for Jackson Merrill. He deserves that contract.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, here we go. So today, Ketel Marte has agreed to a 6-year, $116 million contract with the Diamondbacks.
There you go. So the D-backs are actually spending some money.
For once in their pathetic lives.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. They haven't done that since they had the big unit.
Well, they haven't done shit like that since they went to the fucking World Series a few
Right.
years ago.
Exactly. Exactly. But but no, good to see him spending some money again, though.
You know what? He deserves it.
Yep, for sure.
So
So
basically, their motion forward, moving forward is Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. That's literally their duo right there moving
yep.
forward. Hell, maybe the D-backs can actually do something and actually be, I don't know, productive before
Yeah.
somehow rumors of them speculating possibly moving out of Arizona, like the Coyotes before them, to
Right.
another state that's actually going to give a shit about baseball.
Exactly. AKA Salt Lake City. So you never know. They could have a second team.
It's crazy, really. I mean, what more can you ask from them? But it is what it is.
Yep, for sure. But that being said, hey, we talked a lot tonight. We went through a lot of good stuff, and obviously, for everyone watching over the last like 75 minutes or so, hope you had some good fun stuff on the sports side of things. Of course, if you're in like the South and everything, just keep an eye out on everything tonight because I know a lot of the South is under tornado conditions. So of course, be
Yeah,
careful with all that. Stay safe. And then, as always, of course, if you want to watch our episodes after the fact, go to Spotify, go to YouTube. Of course, we're on our Facebook page as well, so of course, check us out. I was gonna say next week, are we on Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday next week at 8 p.m. And that is actually our annual 2025 mock draft, where we pretty much get everybody for once a year. Unfortunately, it's starting to become a thing. And we're doing our annual mock draft. We just have to decide what team we're going to pick because there are 6 teams each of us get every
Hmm.
year. So we just have to figure out what team that we're all going to get. And we're going to announce this on Facebook and on X. We're going to go through the entire list of everybody and we'll tell you the order they're in from here on out. And we're going to do it like we do every year.
Yep.
So it won't make a difference. And then, of course, on the 24th of April, we will have our annual live coverage of the draft.
Yep. So, normal stuff that we do. Obviously, it'll be fun. So we'll have that coming up. And then, really from there, I mean, it's kind of interesting. We're coming down to like the tail end of the season already, which I mean, this season flew by.
It certainly did. And there is one more thing I want to mention real
Yeah.
quick. And that is I actually bought tickets to the Mets home opening game on Friday, April 4th against the Toronto Blue Jays.
There you go. That'll be a good matchup.
Yep. And I already said it last week that I got tickets to a Mariners game in mid-May.
Yep. There'll be the upcoming Road to 32 where you make your return to Seattle after about 7 months.
I mean, it's not a bad ordeal if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely not. Hard to believe it's already been that long since we were there. But
I know,
that
right?
was a
It's
good time.
crazy.
Good time though. So we got that. And then interesting thing, I'll throw this out there. I might be making a move towards the end of the year again, so it may be a one and done for my current place.
Oh wow, that was quick.
Yeah, well, I might be. I'm actually possibly heading out of New York State, so we'll see what
Oh,
happens. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, just a little something different, and there might be a couple places I'm thinking of. Might make the return to Pittsburgh, or I might make my debut in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll see what happens.
oh, dude, that would be nice if you could do that.
So, but then when I was looking at the pricing in Nashville, Tennessee, I was like, holy shit, I'd be paying like 100% more than what I pay now. So it's so that part's not good, but we'll see about everything else. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But then again, I may keep my place for at least another year or so. So we'll look at it that way also and see how things go. But you
Absolutely.
never know. So that being said, of course, if you guys are in the South, stay safe tonight. You got a lot of rough stuff coming through. In the meantime, of course, we appreciate you guys joining us as we always do. And until next week, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll